It's Ask the Expert with Recycle Frog today here in the program. You can ask questions by calling 613-789-6559, extension 2803. Or you can get us in touch with us via email, ottawa.morning@ctv.ca. Simple as that to ask a question, which Kathy has done this morning. Kathy's calling in from beautiful Bell's Corners. Kathy, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Good, good. What's your question for David today?
I'm just wondering if they buy silver plate.
Silver-plated stuff.
Pretty popular question. The short answer is no. The explanation for that is there's no way for us to know how much silver is actually on there.
Oh, is that right?
It can be microns thick, which is fractions of a millimeter, or it can be millimeters thick. But the only way we'll ever know is when we melt it down, and unfortunately, we don't know how much we can pay the customer for it before we melt it down.
So the machinery you have does not detect.
Well, it will tell us if it's plated, so we simply just
tells
eliminate.
you right away.
Yep, exactly. So we'll know certainly gold-plated things. Our tester, our resistance tester, will tell us instantly whether it's gold-plated or not gold at all.
Right.
And then we have an acid test that we do for the silver items, and it'll react a certain way if it's plated, and we just simply don't buy anything plated.
This is some of the machinery, the electronics that you'll see when you come in to visit. And you're at 3 different places today, right?
That's right. We're at the Schenkman Art Center in Orleans, Ben Franklin Place in Nepean, and then at the Great Canadian Theatre Company in Westboro.
You'll see maybe a machine like this, probably.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And some other things that, and there's the locations, by the way, of Recycle Frog events happening this week. And the people that you'll be dealing with are up front, right?
Well, yes, and we talked off camera about why people are still hesitant about doing this.
Yeah.
And a big part of it is because they're afraid of the unknown. They don't know what they're walking into. They don't know what the experience is going to be like. They have no clue what their items are worth, and so they're afraid to be taken advantage of. And one of the things I want to say to everyone is that's a good fear to have, because that's what's going to protect you in this financial transaction.
Right.
But what we do, I think, very well, and probably better than anybody in the industry, is when you come and meet with us, whether it's at our office or at our events like we're having this week, is we're going to sit with you and explain the whole process. Your items will be no further than 12 inches away from you at all times. We'll be doing the testing right there in front of you, showing you the results that we see, weighing everything. You'll see the scale, weights, and everything, and then we're basically going to present you a purchase offer.
Right.
And it's only when you accept our offer will we write you a check. And if you don't accept it, there's no cost to you. You can just simply pack your items up and off you go. So
no pressure tactics.
There's never any pressure. Our salespeople are I call them salespeople. They're evaluation agents because they're not commissioned, so they have no incentive to push you to take our offer.
Right.
We pay them well on an hourly basis. So you know what? If you accept the offer, great, and if you don't, then you know what? That's in your power to do.
The reason I asked this, and I'm nodding my head in agreement, is because I once had an experience like this, and it was a long, long time ago before Recycle Frog came along, and it was one of those situations where they were looking for watches and jewelry, and I brought a watch in.
Yep.
And one of the things that I noticed about the process was this, when I sat down in front of someone after waiting for a long, long time.
Sure.
They really didn't say much to me in the process. I had a couple of watches, some other things. They're examining the materials I brought in, but they're not really talking to me during that. And I really was made me a bit anxious because what's he thinking and what's he doing? And
well, exactly. What we discovered early on, before we even started the company, was that we talked to the average consumer. We had focus groups, and we said, what do you want this transaction to look like? How engaged do you want to be in it? And almost everyone said, I want to learn as I'm doing this. Of course, I want to get as much money as I can, but I want to know what you're doing. So right from the minute you sit down, we're going to find out a little bit about you and a little bit about your material, but then we're going to share a lot of information about our process, what's involved, how we're going to figure out how much we can offer you so that you're informed and you can make a decision at that point.
And I know you have no problem with people asking questions as this process takes place.
Well, that's the big thing, is if you start asking questions and you see that someone's either not very knowledgeable or they're trying to sort of skirt those, answering that question, that should set your instincts and your alarms off a little bit. There's nothing to hide in this. There's no magic math. There's no mystery. We put everything up front, and we let you decide whether you like the offer or not, and then we just move forward based on that decision.
We have one more opportunity for people to ask questions of David Martinek here from Recycle Frog today, and please take us up on it. We'd love to hear from you. 613-789-6559. extension 2803, ottawa.morning@ctv.ca. We'll talk more about the process and what's involved in it. Coming up, what materials David would like to see you bring in, that sort of thing, in our final segment with David Martinek from Recycle Frog. There's the information to get in touch with Recycle Frog, by the way. And again, feel free to do so. They'll answer any and all your questions. We'll be right back.